Guys, I'm just unofficially welcoming everybody, but I'm so excited, and I know you are.
Don Bates, Tampa, Florida.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves. All callers are muted.
All right, guys, it's 9:03. Let's go ahead and get the call started. I've got everybody muted out. Let's go ahead and get things underway. I just want you guys to know I am absolutely exhausted. I have seen so many people messaging and texting and emails. I've gotten so many phone calls. I literally cannot explain how fast and how massive and how powerful this program that we put together is working. Tonight, this is the final call. This is it, guys. This is the last call that we're going to be doing before we launch this thing off. The next call that you get, guys, understand this. The next call you get is going to be from somebody saying, we're ready. Let's roll. Here's my link. Click it. Sign up. We're going to make this thing happen. That's the next call that you're going to get. And I think tonight's call is very, very important. And simply because of that, I have got a lot of my good friends that have gotten on the call tonight. I want to kind of proceed this by explaining to you how we got to where we are right now. When we came up with this concept several months ago, we decided that we wanted to get a group of people together to kick a program off, and we called the best of the best, guys. I didn't hold anything back on this. I mean, I pulled out the best of the best. I pulled out the aces in every deck that I had, and I made some phone calls to some people. You're going to hear from those people tonight. Those people that are on this call are massive team builders. When I say massive team builders, I don't mean that they call a couple of their buddies to get involved. I'm talking about they go out and they bring thousands and thousands of people to a program. And the only reason they would do something like that is because they see the value in it and they see how big and what the potential is for the program that we've created. And I knew that. I knew that when I made the phone call to them. And I knew that we had to have an ace in the hole, and I knew that we had to have something great before we could even get these people on board. But when I made that phone call, I got these guys all together, and we decided this is what we wanted to do. And I can tell you this, guys, factually, every single person that I called on that day never told me no. Every single one of them was in. Said, absolutely, if you can do what you're talking about pulling off, put us in. We're ready to roll with it. We'll bring our people. And that's what's already happened. I mean, the people are already coming. The only thing that I can relate this to, guys, before I get into some of our guests, if you guys have ever, if you're a movie buff and you've watched things like that, there's a movie out there called Ocean's 11. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. It's actually my favorite movie. I love the movie, and here's what I love about it. There's a main character there called Danny Ocean, and Danny Ocean, he accumulated a group of people. He accumulated a group of 10 other people who had different talents. There was a safe cracker, there was a bomb explosive guy, there was the face guy. There were a lot of people who had different talents, and I knew that when we started this thing off that we had to have the right people. We had to have the right people who had the right talents to be able to make this thing happen. And literally, guys, just to be truthful, even pull this thing off, well, we found those people, and they're here. They're already on board. They've already brought their teams. They're already coming into it. And I want you to hear from them tonight, guys, why they decided to do this. You guys have been hearing me for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks here, preaching and talking about how powerful and how big this thing is going to be, and you guys are tired of hearing that. I know that. I mean, I don't even like to hear myself. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me anymore. So I wanted you to hear from some other people. So before we get the call started here, I'm going to start the recording here in just a second, but I wanted you guys to hear from 6 or 7 different people that we hand-selected to bring on to this. Again, all of those with different talents, and I wanted you to hear from them why they thought that what we put together was so powerful and why this thing is going to just absolutely explode on August the 8th. So let me go ahead and get the call recording started here, and then we'll get the call underway.
This conference is being recorded.
All right, now we got the call recording, so let's go ahead and get things underway. We're going to try to keep this as short as we can. I've got several guests that I wanted to bring on here. One of the first guys that I wanted to bring on, and let me give a proper introduction. This is a guy that I actually met through some of the other programs that we had been in. And guys, understand this. I'm 44 years old. I'm not a real technical guy. How this guy does what he does, I have no idea. All I know how to do is take a hammer and just beat it up against a rock, and we try to make smaller rocks. That's the extent of my technical abilities. But this guy has been so instrumental in helping us put conference calls together, put links together, put splash pages together. He's done videos for us. He's just so instrumental in making those things happen. How he does it, I have no idea. I just simply send him information, and it just pops up one day, and he says, here it is. So I wanted to bring him on board, first of all, before we get to some of our other guests, because he was one of the first guys that I actually contacted into this. He's been involved with some other programs. He understands cycler programs. He understands how they work. He's worked with some big-name players before in the past. He's a good friend of mine from up in Canada. But I wanted to bring him on board tonight because I wanted you guys to hear from someone who's done programs like this before. This is kind of a veteran of this, and why what we have done is so important for you guys to understand. I think it's extremely important for you guys to understand how monumental what we've put together is and what's getting ready to happen. So, Todd Kazinka, I hope you're on the line. Can you hear me okay? Hey, Todd. Well, I know you're up there in Canada tonight. I don't know what the weather's like. I'm down here in sunny Florida, so I'm sure it's a little bit warmer down here where I am. But I wanted to ask you a couple of questions tonight. You've been involved with some programs like this before, and when I think I texted you or maybe I Facebook messaged you, and I said, Todd, I'm putting something together. Would you want to get on board? And I think you asked me, well, what was it? And I explained it to you a little bit, and you said, absolutely. I want you to talk for a little bit. I want you to be real with people because there's no hype here tonight. I want you to be totally honest with people. What do you see with the initial stages of what we put together? And I only say that because we've done some things in the past, and you know how these things can go. Why is it so important for people to understand where they're sitting at right now before this thing even launches? Hey, Todd, I want to ask you one other thing, before I move on to the other guest. Because of some of the other cycle programs that maybe you had been involved with compared to this one, when we started to kick this thing off, and I think you understand this, we created something where people can get paid before they even cycle off the first board. I don't know of any other cycle program that's ever created that. What do you see that doing for just the average Joe, just the Joe Schmo working the 9-to-5 job? I mean, why is that more important for him? Because he can make money more quickly before he even has to have his board fill up. Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand that because we put that in there simply because we want to get people paid fast. We knew if we got people paid fast, they'd go out and talk about it and share it with other people. All we had to do was get the money flowing, and that's literally why we designed this whole program the way that it is. And thank you so much for being on the call. Let me know. I've got another good friend, and I remember I will never ever forget this day. I called this lady up. She lives out in Colorado, and I called her up. It's kind of a funny story, and I said, Becky, I said, I've got something I'm putting together. I don't know exactly if we can make it all work yet, but I need to know if you can be in or out. And she said, I'm in. And I said, well, I haven't even told you what it is yet. And she said, I don't care. She said, everything you've ever done, everything you've ever put together has always made me money. Just tell me what I got to do, and I'm in. So I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, if you tell me you're in, you'll be one of the first ones that I bring into this program. So I asked her to be on the call tonight. She is just an absolute phenomenal lady. I cannot say enough good things about her. I love having conversations with her when she calls me on the phone. She's an excellent team builder. She's an edifier. I have nothing but good things to say about this woman, and I love every time she texts my phone or calls me up because I know she's always got something good to say. But Becky, are you on the line with me? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you good, lady. Well, Becky, I asked you to be on the call tonight because I know that you're a busy woman. You've got a lot of things going on. You're a mover and shaker, and you've built really some massive teams. I've watched you with some other programs. Just bring people. I can't even name the numbers of people that you brought into it. I mean, I've just seen you do so many phenomenal things over the last 2 or 3 years that I've known you. I asked you to be on the call tonight because this thing that we're starting off, this thing that we're kicking off, and what we put together. And again, I don't want people to hear it from me. I think they need to hear it from other people, and I think they really need to hear it from people who are. Monumental people who have done some pretty significant things in the past with some other programs or, this industry. And the reason I asked you to be on the call is this. What do you see when I made that phone call to you and I said, Becky, look, I got something I'm putting together. What was it that made you jump so quick and fast and want to be involved with this?
Oh, Kent, you were the reason right off the bat. I mean, your leadership, your passion for what you're doing and for the caring of the people, your success that you've been. I have not been in a program with you that I have not been successful. And I didn't know what the program was, but I knew that if you were involved with it and had put it together, that it was going to be right and that it was going to be good and it was going to be fast. And I was excited for you and very pleased that you even asked me to take a look at it. So, I mean, I know what you can do. I know what I can do. And if I have the right tool to do that, my people are ready to go. I'm telling you, the team that you talked about me building on the previous cycler, previous programs that we've been in, we are ready to hit this because we know it is going to be so much better. It's going to be so much faster. It's much easier, and it's just going to be a lot of fun is what it's going to be. I remember, Kent, when you made that first phone call to me on the other previous program that we did, and I made my first $5,000 in like 48 hours. I'm like, all right, let's get it going. And so when you called and told me about this one, I can't even begin to think how fast we're going to be making some money. So my team are rearing up, and we are ready to go. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, Becky. Let me ask you one other question before I move on to the next guest. And I'm so glad you talked the way you did because you had mentioned some other programs. What would you say to somebody, and again, guys, nobody knows what I'm going to ask them. I kind of put them on the spot right here. That's what I kind of love about these conference calls. What would you say to somebody who has been involved with something in the past, whatever that program may be? I don't care if they were selling makeup, juice, shake mixes, whatever, and that particular thing didn't work out. Or whatever cycler program they was in, it didn't work out. Or whatever program they got involved with their cousin, it didn't work out. What would you say to somebody who's tried maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 different things that didn't work out? Maybe the companies went under, didn't last, whatever. What would you say to them about what we've got and put together now? How would you address that when somebody should say, look, you really need to pay attention to this?
Yeah, and that's basically exactly what I did say. I did have a person that said to me, look, I've tried all those things. They don't work. I said, you haven't tried the right thing. You haven't been on the right team. You haven't been with the right people that know what they're doing. This is something that you need to pay attention to. Just what if this was the program? And I know it is. And I know how fast because I have made some money with these. And so, it doesn't matter. I've been in programs that had product and the whole bit. It's not about the product with me. People, when you take a look at how much money that can be made in this program's put together, we do have a great product. I just heard your previous guest say that, and I do look at the program and look at the product with it. We have that. It's not about the product with me. It's about the leadership, and it's about how fast we can do this, and it is about how many people that you can get into. It's the minimum cost of this program. I mean, it's a no-brainer for us. I hate to even say that term because we say that all the time, but it is, Kent. It truly is. And I just say to those people, you need to pay attention. This is what your risk is, $230 and 2 people that are doing that. Now, if you don't get that and you don't take a grasp on that and watch this thing roll, you're going to lose out. You need to be in on it now. You don't need to wait until next week. You don't need to wait and check and see how many people make money on it. You need to be in it right now, and that's the key for it. Get in now.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even add anything to that. I mean, you pretty much nailed it. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and I think a lot of other people needed to hear that too. It's the absolute stone cold facts. And thank you so much, Becky, for being on the call. Let me move on to our next guest. I've got a couple more, 2 or 3 people that I need to get to tonight. I don't want to keep you guys too late. Let me move on to a friend of mine that I actually met on Facebook. Somebody who. This guy, let me tell you guys, he's one of the original 10. He's one of the guys that when I decided to put this concept together and create this company, he's one of the guys that I called up and I said, look, this is what I'm doing. And I said, I'd love to have you on board. I'd love to for you to be a part of this. I'd love for your leadership to be a part of this. And I've seen what you've done in the past with some other companies. I had worked actually with him in some other programs we had done. And I knew what he was capable of, but I was looking for those right individuals. Just like I said, with that Danny Ocean and Ocean's 11, I was looking for the right individuals. We wanted to put the right people in place, because we wanted to really make this thing right. We wanted to have that solid foundation before this thing ever kicked off. So Steve West was one of the guys that I got in contact with. And when I called him up, I said, look, this is what we're doing. And immediately, I don't even think I'll finish my statement, but immediately he said, I'm in. And I said, well, Steve, I haven't finished explaining to you what I'm doing. He said, I don't care. I'm in. He said, I understand how these things work, and what you've already told me is enough for me to get involved. When I finished finally explaining it to him, he just lit the roads on fire. I mean, this guy, I'm telling you guys, there's no other way to describe him. He is an absolute beast. He is a monster when it comes to recruiting. And the only reason I bring that up is because all of these people that he's bringing into this are going to be benefiting a lot of other people because of the way cycler programs work. So let me ask first of all, Steve, are you on the line with me?
Sure I am, Ken, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, Steve, I know for a fact because I've been on several conference calls with you. I know that you're doing 6 and 7 conference calls a day. I'm helping you out with some of those. I know you're doing a lot of those on your own. And I know when you call me to do a conference call, you're not calling me to do a conference call with 2 or 3 people. You've got 200 or 300 people on the line. I know that. You're an absolute beast, just like I said earlier. Steve, I want you to talk for just a couple of minutes about this program and what is so important for people to understand as we kick this thing off and why it's so different from anything that people have ever done before with all the things we've put into place.
Ken, thank you. That's a great question, and I'm being perfectly honest with you. When I came into this program, and I'm going to be honest with everyone on this call, I saw money in this program, but I saw money, where me and my family can live in a great life. When I really started to break this program down, and it took a couple of days, I got to be honest with you, and I thank everybody on my team. You guys are just rock stars, every single one of you. But when I broke this program down, and I started to see what I can do for the people, just to step out of the way, introduce them, let them go, let them see that magic. We have a program right here where I don't care how successful you are in the past. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what company burnt you out. Because, guys, I've been just as burnt out as you in every company, and I made money in those companies, and they burnt me out. But I saw a program where every single one of us can make money. How much money? How big is your why? How big is your why? If you want to make money, you are in the right place at the right time. This company has given us the magic. Here's the magic, guys. We're in the front of something that is so big. Guys, I don't think we're going to see a company that's going to rival this company. And there's been some big ones. Me and Ken have worked with some big ones. Maybe not together, side by side. We watched each other. But I haven't seen a company this powerful start off with a pre-launch. And, guys, we're really in launch. It's called a pre-launch. We're in launch. We're just gathering so much speed. People are picking up the phones and calling us saying, how can I get involved with you guys? What can I do? When something like that happens, you got to understand on this call, every single one of us in a position to change our lives for the rest of our lives. I'm not talking about being comfortable buying a new car. Guys, I'm talking about retirement on this phone call. When you get that into your heart and you get that into your mind, there's no way you can't reach out and contact 200 people at once because you're doing 200 people the greatest opportunity that they've probably ever seen in their life. This program is going to pay so many people so fast. It's going to catch so rival on this online, offline. You can go anywhere. You can walk into your bank, your convenience store, your gas station, and you can help anyone 5 feet around you to make an income that they never imagined possible. And I got to be honest with you, Ken, that's what's attracting me to this company. I've been able to change so many people's lives. I called marketers up. They were beat up. They were frustrated. I call them back today, man. They answer the phone. They're so happy to hear from me. That alone is worth $1 million. But when I get them paid, I'm going to have some beast on my hands that I'm not even going to be able to outperform. And that's what's special. When you can make somebody better than you got a magic formula.
Steve, I want to ask you one other thing because you kind of alluded to this as you were talking there. As people come into this, and I know for a fact that you're already experiencing it. I'm experiencing it every single morning when I wake up, and I know several hundreds of other people who are experiencing this. This has almost taken a life of its own, and in fact, just to kind of give you guys a reality statement, I woke up this morning and had 17 messages on Facebook from people. And the guys were total strangers. I have no idea who these people were, who had messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, I need to get involved with Race Cycler. How can I get involved? Who can sponsor me? How can I get a spot into this company? 17 different people when I woke up this morning. Total strangers that I ever. Steve, I know you're experiencing the same thing. I want you to talk a little bit about, for the people that are listening in, because, for anybody that's been involved in this industry, it takes a little rapport, and you have to kind of figure out, your game and your skills and how you're going to talk to people. Where do you see this thing really going? And I'm not even going to go into a long time frame. I'm going to say over the next couple of weeks after we launch, maybe 30 days at most. Where do you see people sitting around? I mean, are people going to be saying, I got to go call up my friend and try to convince them, or do you think people are going to be fielding phone calls from people calling them saying, hey, how can you get me into it?
It's a simple statement. We become the hunted, not the hunters. What's happened in just, 2.5 weeks we pushed this launch off? It's about 2.5 weeks that we really did start to go, and excuse my speech, I'm just burnt out from the phones, but guys, listen, my little team, I'm just going to discuss my little team and what's happening and what's going to happen to every person on this call. I started out with about 20 people when I first came on here after Ken's call. Those 20 people today have turned out to close to 30,000 people just from attraction marketing. And we haven't been paid one penny, people, one penny. When we start ripping out those paychecks, not to show them or flash them, or we're on social media talking about how we've been paid. We're in the cycler program. We don't even know what it is. We're getting $50, $500, $2,200, $500, $240, and we're talking in the thousands, not one or two people. God, you're not even going to be able to feel the calls. You're going to feel just like me. And, guys, I wish every one of you feels like this, where you don't have time to eat. The phone's ringing so hard, and you're not calling out. People are calling into you. They're asking you, like Ken said, what's going on? How do I get involved? Can I get on your team? And you can start pushing people underneath all these teams to help everybody else. It's magic. I'll tell you what. Here's the figures. I was on a phone call. It's recorded. You can hear it. Everyone can hear it. I said we'll be about 40,000 in a month. We've broken that. We're close to 40,000 right now. I'm talking about one team. There's all other leaders on this call that Ken's going to introduce. These guys are beasts too. I don't even know what they have in their holding tanks, but I bet you when we come to launch on August 8th, I told Ken this, when you come back from Belize, I'm going to have 80,000. I know what they're going to have. Guys, this is just, once this blows out and you see second after second people screaming that they made money, they made money, they made money, they made money, all you got to do is sit back and start answering one question. Yes, it's legal. Yes, I made the money, and here's my link. And when you have something like that, I'm telling you, I said 1 million people in 6 months. We might be a little quicker than that. I think we're going to break that. I think we got one of the best opportunities I've ever had my hands on.
I think so, Steve. Too, Steve. I really do. Again, this is not hype, and I always kind of preface everything I say. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I'm just simply telling you the facts. This is what's happening, and I agree with you on those numbers based on what I've seen with the emails and texts and Facebook messages and all the things that are happening. I really do think that. In fact, I've already notified our programmers that to go ahead and be prepared. Be prepared for 50,000 people during the month of August. I've already told them, get ready for that, because I really do think that that's what's going to happen, because I think, just like you said and Becky said, I think the timing is just right. I think with so many different things that people have tried, everybody's trying to make a buck. We've tried this and that and the other, and this worked out and that didn't, and we made a buck over here or whatever. I think the timing has just, the stars and planets have aligned up, and everything just seems to be just right now. I think it's the perfect time of year as we come out of this summer season and we get into the perfect time when people start to really focus. We all know how it works. Everybody's got their bills, their Christmas bills and credit card bills, and everything's showing up here shortly. I think everything has just lined up perfectly, and it just kind of fell into place, not by, I don't want to say by chance, but there's a little bit of planning involved, but just because everything just happens naturally. And I think that's where we literally are sitting right now. I've got a couple of more guests that I want to get to. One of the guys that I wanted to bring on, and I may flip-flop back and forth between these two guys, because one of the guys, actually I want to bring him on first because I want him to talk a little bit. He was one of the actually, I think he was the first guy that I called. He was when I had this concept. I sent him a text one night. I remember I was sitting on my back screening porch, and I sent this guy a text one night, and I said, "How would you like to own your own network marketing company?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, not literally own your own network marketing company, but how would you like to come in on the front end of one?" And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, here's my idea." I said, "Give me a call, and I'll explain it to you." And we got together on the phone, and I said, "Here's what I'm thinking about doing. I think I've got a pretty good concept." He had been involved with some other things that I had done in the past. In fact, he had done way better than I had ever done. He was in the top 4% of one of the largest companies in the country. And so when I texted him, I got on the phone with him. I said, "This is what I'm thinking about doing. Here's the concept. I haven't got it all put together yet. I haven't met with any programmers. I don't have any websites you can look at. There's no information for me to share with you, but here's just the idea that I have." And he told me at that time, he said, "If you can come off what you're thinking about putting together, absolutely, I would be in 100%. He said, "I've already run the numbers on it. I can see how this would work, and I can see how it could pay out magnificently." And so when we got everything together, we got the programs and the website and the back office and all that good stuff going. I texted him back, and I said, "Look," I said, "we're up and running." I said, "We're done." I said, "We're ready." I said, "Are you still in the game?" He said, "Are you kidding me? I've already got about 100 people ready to go with me." So I want to ask my good friend Rod Combs, are you on the line with me?
I am, Kent.
Rod, I'm so glad that you got on the call with me. I wanted you to talk a little bit about, because you're one of those first guys that I had actually contacted, and some of these other guys are somebody I had contacted maybe a little bit later, but you're the very first guy. You were the guy that I called and said, "Hey, this is the idea that I have. This is what I'm thinking about doing. Do you want to be a part of it with me?" And the reason I had you get on the call tonight, before I get to my next guest, is because I wanted you to talk to and kind of explain and talk a little bit about, why would you even want to do this again? I mean, you've been very successful. I mean, guys, don't get me wrong. Rod lives in about a $1.5 million home, lives on Lake Norman in North Carolina, got plenty of money, works for a great company. He don't need to do this. What was it about this that made you want to jump in and do this again?
Well, Kent, there's about 10 things that made me want to jump in and do this again, but I'm going to talk about the one thing that I think is most important, and that is timing. I look back at the companies that I have been in and I've been successful in, and I think about when I got into those companies. Those companies had been in existence for 6, 7, 8 years. There had been hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that had already gone through those companies, that had used their products, that had pushed their products to other people. And when you came to me and said, "Listen, we can be at the very beginning of this thing," and everybody on this call tonight, quite honestly, is at the very beginning of this thing. We're talking, 15, 20,000 people next week joining this. Well, guess what? If there's 1 million people in the next 6 months, there's going to be 900,000 plus people behind every single person on this call. to me, that is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. And there was no way I was going to look back one day and say, I wish I would have.
Rod, since you brought that up and mentioned that, I want to ask you this. Because a lot of people are listening on this call and they're thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, it's too late. 5,000 people have already joined this thing. 20,000 people. I mean, people just heard Steve say, hey, there's 40,000 people who are going to join this. Why in the world would I want to join it now? I want you to answer that. I'm not even going to kind of lead into it. I want to know your true, honest opinion about why it's so important for a person to join, even knowing how many people are going to be coming to this.
Well, again, Ken, these opportunities come around once in a lifetime. And if you're in the top 50,000 people joining this company, you're probably going to be in the top 1% to 2% of the people in this company over some period of time. That does not happen. That rarely happens in anybody's lifetime. And especially, I want to address this. Thank you for all the people that have talked so far, and all the other great team members that we have and other people have that are going to bring in masses of people. But guess what? Everybody on this call that has 1, 2 people right now, and you're sitting there going, okay, I can't bring in 100 or 500 people. I only have 2, and those 2, maybe you can get 2 over time. Well, that's okay, because you're going to be able to go through this cycler, you're going to be able to make some money, and you're going to be able to show others what is happening, and all these other thousands and thousands of people are going to push you through this. And you're going to be at the top of something that is going to be monumental in this industry like no other time before.
Right. That is exactly what I wanted you to say. And guys, I promise you, I can assure you, none of this is rehearsed, and that is exactly what I wanted Rod to say. That's why I asked him that question. And I'm going to kind of piggyback onto that. Rod, you've been involved just like I have, and a lot of you other guys on this phone call, you've been involved with some different companies, binaries, coded systems, and all those crazy pay plans that everybody has, force matrices and team building, and all those crazy things. What I love about a cycler, this is what I love about a cycler. It does not matter where a person joins, who brought them, how they joined, who signed them up, who enrolled them, who referred them. It does not matter. They filled a spot. And as long as they fill a spot, everybody pushes through the system. Now, because we took the jump feature out, it doesn't matter who joins where, who sponsors them, or anything. Everybody gets pushed through the system. So, Rod, I'm going to ask you one more question before I move on to my next guest. With all the things that you've done before, just like I have, and we've all tried them all, we've all dabbled and dibbled in different pay plans and tried to make a buck here and there. This, I think, in my opinion, I think you would probably agree with me, is probably the biggest thing that's ever happened, simply because we took out the jump feature. It moves very fast, and it doesn't matter where a person joins, what they do, how many people they sponsor, or who they bring to the program. Everybody is pushing everybody through the system. And we knew that would be monumental because that would get a lot of people paid. Now, with everything that you've done, do you think that would be a very big deal? I mean, as this thing starts to kick off?
Yeah, there's things that we didn't mention tonight. We've mentioned on other calls before that it's okay if you're doing other things, if you're doing other programs, because you don't have to stop doing those to do this. This does not conflict with anything else that other people may be doing. But the important thing to me was, look, no products, no monthly auto ship, no monthly UPS guy coming to my house delivering a product. It's okay if you're doing one of those other than this. But that was huge to me. In addition to what you just said about all the changes you put into this cycler, it just, Kent, quite honestly, I was done. I was retired until you came to me and brought this opportunity back to me. And every single person I have talked to who has been in this industry and maybe was done or maybe they're doing something else, doesn't really matter what their situation was or is, they are doing this, and they're going to do it big. So thank you, and thank you for everybody that's on this call for having the ability to see things happen before they occur, because those are the people in life that are successful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, it's all about, you participate and make money with it, or you read about it in the book later on. I mean, we've all seen that happen so many times before. Rod, stay on the line because I may come back to you. I want to move on to one of my other guests here as we kind of finalize the call here. This is a guy And guys, he was my upline before in a previous venture that I had done. And I can remember hearing this guy on conference calls. Armin was he was the guy that I used to dial in. Armin, I think it was every Tuesday or maybe every Wednesday. I used to dial in on about noontime, and I heard you on a conference call. This guy has built teams of tens of 20s of 30s of 40s of thousands of people. I mean, this was a heavy hitter. And I got a hold of Armin, and I said, look, this is what I'm thinking about doing. This is what I'm putting together. I said, you want to make another run with this? And guys, again, this is not a guy who needed to do this. I mean, this guy was successful. He was making money. He didn't need to do this. But when I called him up and told him what the concept that I had, and guys, this is why I wanted to hold this call tonight, because this is our final call before we launch. I wanted to get some heavy hitters on here because I wanted you to understand why they decided to become a part of this. So when I called this guy up, told him what he was getting ready to do, he said, absolutely, I'm on board. I've got a couple of questions I want to ask Armin, but Armin, are you on line with me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. I can hear you real good. Well, Armin, let me start off with this first of all. When I called you or you found out about this and we got to talking and communicating and I was explaining to you how this whole thing worked, you had done some things. You had made some good money in the past. You had done some other programs that were very successful for you. I can remember a couple of those. I was involved with you in as well. Why in the world would a guy like you want to jump on a program like this? I mean, you had done cyclers before. I mean, you'd been involved with a couple of cyclers I had done before. What was it about this one that was so different that kind of caught your attention?
Well, Ken, I was really blessed to have you on my team in our last cycler that we were in, and what really brought me full steam on board with what you brought to me was you have reinvented the most incredible opportunity that can benefit everyone that joins this program, where there are so many programs out there between the breakage, between the way the program is set up. A lot of people, the top people that can market, they make the most, but in the long run, a lot of people lose out. You've created a program. What I saw here was that it's a win-win situation for everyone. And why I say that is because what made me go full tilt, come out of retirement, to come back, because this is going to be my last hurrah, I'm going to tell you that, buddy. And I've already got teams from all over the world that have been coming in because they saw what I saw with this. But when you put into this program that you took the passive out, and in the last couple of years in the network industry, unfortunately, the mentality has been passive. Well, there is no such thing as passive. I'm 66 years old. I mean, I've worked all my life, and I've never had anybody give me anything. I had to work to do something. But there are so many opportunities that have been given because of the internet and how easy it is to do things that they pitch a passive program. Well, there is, as they're saying, there's no such thing as passive. But when I saw what you told me, that when people come into this, if they do not sponsor one person, they only make $40 the first cycle. And if they do cycle the second cycle, they only make $200. And so then I looked at it and I said, well, yeah, but now if you bring in two people up front, you now made $2,200. Ken, ingenious. This is what's going to drive this company. This is what's going to make people money. This is what's going to be the longevity of this program, because it's not going to be the passive program that there's too much out there. So I am just so blessed and happy to be a part of this program, and I just look forward to working this for a long time. Thank you.
Hey, Armin, I want to ask you one other thing, and I only ask you this because I know that you have the knowledge of it because you had done some cyclers in the past. And typically, cyclers are generated or created by the owners of the company to make the owners of the company a lot of money. And the way that they do that is because of breakage, just like what you were mentioning. Those boards continue to go on forever and ever and ever. You go from one board to the next board to the next board, it splits, you go to another one, it splits, you go to another one, and it just literally splits to infinity. And I can remember the conversation I had with you. I said, Armin, there's an ending point to this. You're going to go from one tuba tube to a second tuba tube. After that, the ride's over. That's the ending point. Right. And I remember it's like the light bulb. Yeah, the light bulb went off in your mind, and you said,
the light bulb went off because this is the key to the program. Because there is with a cycler. I mean, it keeps getting wider and wider and wider and wider, and they are going to stall. But when you put that ending point in there, it was another ingenious aspect to the program. So this is why every time you cycle that $2,000 board, that board closes.
Yeah, it was an absolute game changer.
It's a game changer, but I also want to say one other thing, too, to everybody on this call tonight, because they don't know who I am. But anyway, we also are going to be, I have worked with Kent and my partner. We are going to have a game changer for everyone for a payment processor, which we will on opening day, anybody will be able to join this program with a credit card or debit card. And it will not be running, so and there's going to be a lot more being said about the payment processors that they have contacted with us to put into this program. And it's also going to be a game changer for global opportunities.
Yeah, and Armin, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was actually the next thing I was going to ask you. Armin was very instrumental when we got started with this whole deal. You guys all know this. PayPal was our payment processor that we were going to use to bring people in. STP was our payment processor that we were going to use to pay people as they extracted their money. We all know this, and you guys know this too. There's maybe 7 or so states in the U.S. that do not accept or allow Solid Trust Pay. We all know that PayPal, if you don't have a PayPal account, there's a few extra boxes that you have to fill out. We've gotten people that this thing literally, guys, it has spread. I think on the last conference call, I think I announced there was 13 different countries we have gone to. We have now gone to 17 different countries. So we know that there's a lot of different payment processors and different currencies and things of that nature. So we made a contact with someone, and Armin was very instrumental in helping us to do this, about getting with a payment processor that we could put on our payment screen, on our sign-up screen as well, as we kick this company off. Everything is done. It's finalized. Of course, I've announced this several times before. The website and everything is completed. The payment processor is 95% done. We're just waiting on a few documents to come back. We are hoping that we can get all of this done and put onto the screen before we even launch. Worst case scenario, it's just going to be a couple of days after that. But we have a payment processor that when a person signs on, they can click a button, fill out the credit card information, sign up, go right into it, click a link, sign up for an e-wallet system, extract their money straight from there. It's going to be seamless. It's going to be great. It's going to be perfect for everyone. And we thank God that Armin showed up on the scene, because he was the one that kind of connected us to that. And that's kind of what we're looking at. I mean, this thing, guys, I'm going to tell you, it's top notch. I mean, it's first class and done right all the way. And that's the only way we wanted to do it, and that's the only way you guys would want to have it done. And I'd like to call up, though, I'm going to go back to Rod for just a second. Rod, I hope you're on the line with me still, but I want to come back to you for just a second, because I really want you to talk a little bit about, as this thing starts to kick off and people start to get involved here. I know there's a ton of people who are going to say, oh, my gosh, I missed the launch, or oh, I didn't get in there at the right time, or I didn't get in the right spot, or I didn't get into the right team. As this thing starts to really roll out, and this is going to happen, guys, on August the 8th, so we're very, very short time frame away from doing that. I want to ask you, how important is it, and I'm only asking you this because I know you've done this before, for a person to really stay focused on this for the next maybe 30, 45 days. And when I say focused, I mean really honed in and zoned in. I'm not talking about listening to a conference call once a week. I mean, how important is it for a person to really focus on this and stay dedicated to it for a 30, 45-day time period, and then just watch what happens after that?
Yeah, so let's break this down. We've got about 8 days till launch. What can you do in the next 8 days? How many people can you talk to? How many people can you get interested in this? Even if they don't come on board right now, pique their interest, because you're going to be able to go back to them after that and show them what has happened here. You're going to have so much ammunition to be able to go to them, not just with what you've done, but all the things you're going to see on Facebook and other places, all the people that have made money here that have never made it before. You're going to be able to go back and show those people. And then you look out 30 days, you look out 60 days. Focus is one of the most important things you can do. I mean, I'm being very serious. $2,000 can change some people's lives. $200,000 can change some people's lives. Whatever that is, set that goal, focus on it, and this is one place you will be able to accomplish it. And I'm not talking about I'm going to give up chocolate for a month. I'm talking about focus, dedication. Talk to people. Every person you talk to, don't talk to them thinking, oh, what if they say no and I feel foolish. No, you talk to them like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my family's life, and I'm going to help the people in this world that need help and with what I'm able to do here. That's the type of focus that you need to have, and the sky is the limit.
Yeah, Rod, one other thing before I close this call out, and I'm going to ask you to kind of comment a little bit on this. I have actually approached this, and I know a lot of other people have too. We've actually approached this as when we're talking to people, it's almost as if, here's what I have to offer you. You're either going to pick this up in the first 5 seconds, or I'm going to take it away from you, and we can talk about something else. And that has really that's really worked well for the people that I've talked with. In fact, the first 10 that I brought in, that's kind of the way I presented it. Here's what I'm getting ready to do. You can be a part of it, or you can watch me do it. It doesn't matter to me which one you want to do. And every single person come on board. And I think it's very important that people, when you're talking to someone, whoever that person may be, doesn't matter who it is and how you do it, but when you're talking to someone, you just let them know that this is what is happening. I mean, that's what I loved about this 2 to 3 week kind of pre-launch that we started here. I loved having to do that because it gave people factual information. They could send somebody to the Facebook room, and I've watched Dan Pia, who's put several posts or several pictures on Facebook, and I watched him. He said, "This is where we were at 8:30 p.m. one night. Here's where we were at 9 o'clock p.m. 30 minutes later. Do you want to be in the middle of this, or do you want to be after that?" It's very easy when you can just show somebody, this is how fast this thing is moving, and this is what's actually happening. So, Ron, what would you say as we kind of close out this call to people who, when they're talking to people, instead of trying to convince or persuade or get somebody to fall into doing what we're doing, just getting them to see the facts? I mean, this is what's actually happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The facts are there. What we're seeing right now, the explosion on Facebook, what's going viral, you go out and talk to people and they come back and say, hey, I've already heard of that. Those are the facts. What we put together here, what you guys have put together here, and what we're all doing is factual. Then it comes belief. So when you start believing that these facts are real, which they are, then comes conviction. And when you have conviction, you don't have to sell anything to anybody. That's when you can look them in the eye. You can tell them what's happening. And if they're not interested, you walk away. And when you walk away, they're going to know that they're missing out on something. And whether it's now or whether it's later, they're going to come back to you.
Yeah. Golly, you nailed it right on the head. Can't add nothing to it. Well, guys, it's 9:50. I have no idea how long this call will go. This is the last recorded call. Let me kind of let you guys know over the next couple of minutes how this thing is going to play out before launch day, because I know everybody's anticipating and waiting for that. So just so you guys know, what's going to happen is this. Over the next couple of days, there's going to be a lot of activity going on in the Facebook room. That Facebook room, in fact, if you're on Facebook, just go to Race Cycler and on Facebook, and that'll take you straight to the room. You can ask to be added to it. There's a absolute ton of information that you can get there. There's all kinds of people that you can connect with, all kinds of people you can talk with, become friends with, and all those things. Here's what's going to happen between now and next Friday. Before we launch this thing off, we've got obviously some testing that has to be done. In fact, that started taking place today. The website's being tested. We're putting in some bogus usernames just to kind of make sure that the system is working right, and that the follow your sponsor system works right, and that people go from board to board just like they're supposed to go. We want to make sure all that stuff is happening just like it's supposed to. After that, we have some payment processors, the one we were just speaking of. We're going to work to get those on the menu screen before we actually launch this thing. So that's going to be kind of in the works. But along about Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to say Thursday. I'm just going to kind of give myself a little bit of lead time here. On Thursday, we're going to start getting the initial group together, the ones that we started with, the original 10. We're going to get those loaded into the system. We're going to make sure that everything's working right and they show up on the boards and the usernames and they're in all the right spots and all that good stuff. And then the site's going to be locked down. It's going to be locked down, and from that point on, we're going to hold a conference call. So this is what I want you guys to understand. And we're going to put this in the Facebook room every single day if I have to. And this is between now and next Friday. Guys, hear me. If you have not heard anything else on this conference call, what I'm getting ready to say is what you need to hear. Between now and next Friday, you need to be paying attention. And I mean that. I don't care if the kids have got a ball game, a soccer practice, or a PTA meeting, or if you've got to go to swim practice. I'm telling you now, if you want to make some serious money here, you have got to listen to what I'm saying. Between now and next Friday, you have got to stay focused on this, and you've got to pay attention. Because between now and next Friday, announcements are going to be made. They're going to be done through conference calls. They're going to be done through emails. They're going to be done through your upline. They're going to be done from corporate. They're going to be coming from everywhere. You have got to pay attention to the information. When you get that information and we launch this, you have a chance to come in on this. From that point on, it is up to you to send your link to the next person to get them to come into the program. You have to get your people lined up between now and then. And I only say that because, if you want to have, and there's people that are going to have, like Steve West. I mean, Steve, I have no doubt, Steve's going to have 40,000, 50,000 people that are going to come into this. There's people in California, I know of one guy right now that has 12,000 that's coming into this. I've got a guy in North Carolina that has 6,000 coming into this. I'm just telling you guys, you have got to have your people in place. These guys have put instruments in place to make that happen. They've created email lists, databases. They're sending emails to their downlines every single day. They're sending emails to their teams every single day. They're doing text. They're doing messages. They're calling people. And guys, I know that takes work. It takes effort. And a lot of you guys are just like me. You are tired of having a conference call every 15 minutes explaining the same thing that you just explained 15 minutes ago. You're tired of that. I get that. I know it. But here's what I want you to understand. We are in the initial stages of this. We are in the launch phase of this. And if you can stay focused and dedicated and just commit, if you can do that for 30 days, guys, you can't spend the money that you're getting ready to make here. I'm just telling you. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. I'm telling you, if you just stay dedicated, you can't spend the money that you're going to make here. That's what this thing is going to do. So, and that's why we created this. So just stay focused on this. Get into the Facebook room. Get your information. Stay focused on this. And stay in contact with your sponsors. Make sure you've got all the right information. We've got some recorded conference call. This call has been recorded, so we're going to put this into the Facebook room and email it out as well. But this is information that you guys need to hear. So we're going to leave it at that. And hopefully, you guys, as we wrap this up, again, this is the last call. This is it, guys. It's game time. It's on. I mean, we're getting ready to pull the green flag, and the race is on. So just understand, you've gotten all the information you needed. You've gotten all the conference calls you needed. You've gotten all the explanations you needed. We've done everything we can do to get the word out. And what's getting ready to happen is what's getting ready to happen. Just decide to be a part of it. And once you decide to be a part of it, you get into the mix, and things start to just take place from there. It happens naturally. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's almost 10 o'clock, and I'll leave it along with there. And thank you so much for all the guests being on the phone call tonight. You guys are so instrumental to help us to build this program. I mean, these guys, I want you to understand this too as I wrap this up. These were top people. I mean, these guys were not, they didn't come on this call because they were just looking for something to do. These are people who are very, very dedicated to the industry. They have made extreme money, and they understand how this industry works. They got involved with this because they've seen how powerful the plan was. So I hope you guys got the concept from that, from having these guys on the line. But anyway, you guys have a great night. Sleep well. We'll see you in a couple of days, and we'll be in the Facebook room and putting some messages out there, and we'll have email contacts and all that good stuff. And you guys have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
All callers are unmuted. Goodbye.
Wait.